Hey, what's going on, everybody? So, a few knives here for you, and also a number of updates that I didn't get to do in my last video, just in regards to some thoughts I had on the channel and some things that have been going on since my vacation. So these two knives are what I like to call now my birthday knives. My birthday was a couple weeks back, and I went up to Cape Cod for a few days for vacation, and that's where I got this knife, actually from my mother and father-in-law. Pretty cool. And then this knife, when I was out in California, my uncle lives out there as well as my grandma and one of my cousins. So my uncle gave me this knife, or gave this knife to me. And I'll give you a little story on each one, and then we'll get into the channel updates, and obviously I want to have some knives for you guys to look at. So we'll move this one out of the way first. So my mother and father-in-law obviously talked to my wife, their daughter, and she tells them that I have knife obsession and that I like collecting knives and all that kind of stuff. And you know, most probably parents of a girl aren't too happy that their son-in-law collects knives or dangerous things or whatever it is. But actually, it's pretty sweet. I have some really cool parents of my wife, and they actually got a knife for me while they were in Cape Cod. So they go up to Cape Cod every year, and I'll open this up for you so you can see it. Actually, that's a nice mirror finish on it. My wife's mother side of the family goes up to Cape Cod every year, so it's a big reunion every summer there. And so she actually went to Martha's Vineyard while she was up in that area, and while she was in Martha's Vineyard, she found this knife at like a little antiquity shop kind of place, and it's a scrimshaw. If you don't know what a scrimshaw means that it's a piece of animal of some type, usually bone or antler, tooth, something like that, that they then do a carving in. So in this case, this is actually deer antler, and they did this engraving of a lighthouse. Obviously something very prevalent in the New England area, something that kind of captures that theme. And you have some some birds flying in the background, the rocks, and then the breakwaters and everything. And it's a folder, and obviously I like folding knives. It has the bolsters here. I'm not exactly sure what the bolsters are made of, and it just kind of came in a nice little pouch. There wasn't much paperwork or anything with it, obviously just from like a nice little antiquity shop. But I would assume this is probably a steel of some type. I don't think it's aluminum, and I certainly don't think it's titanium, but probably some just kind of lightly colored steel. And then the blade here is mirror finished. You can see the camera right there. You can see the top of my forehead. But pretty neat thing, It's kind of like an older style, more of a niche kind of piece, but very neat. It's a backlock system, so you push this here and it releases the blade. Give you a look at the back. Obviously the the screws or studs in there were colored to that goldish color, but pretty neat. I like how when it breaks, so much of the blade is down here. You actually have this whole section right there. It's kind of a neat look to it, but definitely very EDC-able. You can just drop this in your pocket. You probably won't even realize it's there. Very smooth, not that thick. You can see it has a back spacer here all the way across it. See straight down there. Gold colored liners, which obviously I believe are steel. The little thumb clip there. And we'll see if we can macro this. Yeah, so tested sharp, Rough Rider, and I believe this is 440C steel. Yeah, so I don't know if it's C, it's 440 steel, but I'll try to see that 440 razor sharp steel. And you know what? Why not see if we can cut something with this? Get all this out of here. Never have paper ready. Alright, so a piece of scrap paper. yeah, you know, it does cut. Let's see if you can see. These mirror finishes are so hard to get to focus. Gonna have to focus it up here first. And, you know, there's a grind on there. But, you know, just a neat thing. Cool that, you know, parents-in-law get you something that you like and indulge your obsession instead of scolding you for it, you know? So, let's see. There you go. You can puncture. So that's that. Thought it was cool. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for getting this for me. And I'm glad I married a cool, awesome lady for my wife that has fun parents. So neat stuff there. Little thing for you to look at. Another back lock to throw in there. Just a neat little piece to keep in the collection. Second, we have this piece here. And let's see if we can zoom in on this a little bit more. I want to get the glistening on it. So this is a Victorinox. I believe it's part of the Officer series as far as the knife type. But there's a really good story to go with this. So this is mother of pearl that's on here. And you know what? Let's see if we can fan this out to the light a little bit more and see if we can get some of the color effects on there. Go. That's not the best, doesn't show up really clear. We'll do a zoom out and see if we can bring it in. But you can see that the texturization that's in there. I mean, that is cool. And it's a really thick slabs of mother of pearl. I mean, look at that thickness. Very smooth. You know, lots of different colors in here. It's hard to, I guess, get on camera, you know, not having an actual backlit area. But let's see if we can do anything with the flashlight on this. Try to get it to focus on there. But you can see that translucence, slight rainbowing right at the edge of the light, you can see. But really, when this thing is in the sunlight, it sparkles and shimmers, and it's pretty sweet. Yeah, I mean, look at that thing. That's cool. So anyways, story behind this. I believe I mentioned in some videos back when I was doing all my dad's Swiss Army stuff. My uncle used to work for Swiss Army as I think a regional salesman out in the West Coast. And what happened was my grandparents back in the 80s, my mom's parents, went to Europe as a trip, I believe either between 84 or 86. I'm not exactly sure the date. Let me start pulling out some of these blades so you can see them. And so my grandpa and grandma went over to Europe, and while they were there, they went to Switzerland, to Ibach, which is where the Victorinox shop is, or Victorinox headquarters and production facilities. And I believe in part because my uncle at the time was working for them, so I thought it would be cool to tour that. And when they went there, they went on the tour, and near the end of the tour, Carl Elsner, who is at the time, also still is, but I think it's a different Elsner, one of the other Carl Elsner's Jr. is the CEO now, but whatever Carl Elsner was then there as the head was actually on the floor at the end of the tour. So my grandfather started talking to him, they're chatting, and Carl reached over to the, I don't want to call it the production line, it's not like it's just an assembly line or something, but you know, their newest batch of knives made, and this was part of the SOS kit. Reached over, picked up a pack, and handed this directly to my grandfather and said, "Here, please take this." So it literally was right off the production line, the assembly line, whatever you want to call it, the facility at Ibach, and handed to my grandfather by Carl Elsner as a gift, just saying, you know, here you go, thank you for visiting. And I don't know if Carl knew that this was a mother of pearl one, or just picked up a pack and was like, here you go, but this is pretty sweet. I've seen some other pearl ones, but the small thin versions, and this was part of the SOS kit, which I believe was brand new at that time or just starting. There's a lot of pieces that go with it as far as the pack that it comes with, which I have. So anyways, my grandpa got this, brought it back with him, and then after he passed, this was given to my uncle. And so my uncle has had this in his possession, and when I came out there to California, I really just want to show it. This mother of pearl is just awesome. He brought this out and said that he wanted to pass it on down to me. He said, he had seen my knife collection and, was really glad that I'd gotten into knives. Obviously, him being working for Swiss Army for so long, he has a big passion about Swiss Army knives, but then just knives in general. Went to a lot of knife shows in his day. There's the scissors. So he wanted to give this on to me, someone that would definitely appreciate it, and I do. It's pretty awesome, and the story makes it even more awesome, I think. So thought I'd show that to you guys. A lot of neat stuff on here, but that's the story. So a lot of mother of pearl on here, and cool that it was one of the first runs of that SOS kit. A lot of neat tools on this thing. I'm trying to see. I think there's a magnifying glass on here somewhere. Yep, yeah, that's pretty sweet. So that's that. Very smooth. I mean, just feels great in the hand. And then I'll show you this real quick. This is the pouch. This goes in this side of the pouch, but I'm not going to take all these out. But you can see in here there's a sharpening tool, the compass, thermostat, thermometer, magnifying glass, and ruler on here. And then in here are all the other stuff. There's a little sewing kit, band-aids, a pen, comb, really neat stuff. So you can see it all comes like that. Victorinox on there. I don't know if that's a serial number or department made. I mean, actually, you know what, that might be, no, I don't know what that actually is on there. But you have belt strips, so you could put this right on your belt, have everything. So obviously, one of the most utilitarian, tools that you can have with you. But really neat stuff. Give you one last look at that mother of pearl. So I thought that was really neat and, really special for him to hand that down to me. So I'll definitely keep this for a long, pretty much the rest of my life. But pretty sweet, and just the thickness of those slabs on there. So two cool things I got this past couple of weeks on trips from family. Come on, focus. There we go. So you can see that in there, the thickness. So beyond that, here's the updates for you before we get too long in it. Put these here for some eye candy for you. So one, while I was out in California, I had to go visit a knife maker. I visited Elliot Williamson of Ferrum Forge Knifeworks. He's actually down in San Diego, and I just happen to be in Orange County. That's where my family is. That's only about less than an hour drive to get down to where he is in San Diego. And he actually provided a ridiculously long amount of time for me to just talk about knives, metal, production materials, production processing, all that kind of stuff. And it turns out we actually went to the same college, and we're actually there at the same time. He went to the college that I went to for about a semester. I believe he's a year or two younger than me, but that was pretty neat. So and that just came across just from talking about life, So we're old college buddies, I guess you can call it. And really cool stuff going on there. If you don't know who he is, or if you haven't seen his channel, I'll put a link below for you. But he's one of the last guys that actually makes full custom knives, if you want to get into that class. I think a custom knife is, something that's made by hand, designed by that designer, even if it's a model, and then that you can modify to an extent when you order from them. But this guy is on the full farthest realm of that. Literally, you can tell him exactly what you want and he will make it for you, as long as the mechanics work, obviously. But he works with all the steel materials. He works from, D2, N690, I believe he doesn't do any of the S30s or S3Vs. He's not a big fan of those, but he does like S90V, S110, S125 if you can find it. M390, LMAX, he double heat treats them so they get to Rockwells of like 62 or 63. He deals with that special material called SM100, and that's the titanium and nickel blend, which is pretty much almost corrosion, proof at that point. Holds an edge, doesn't microchip. So really neat stuff. And then he, does crazy titanium handle work. I think that's really what, if you go to his site, you'll see is the carvings that he can do in the titanium on the handles. He does do materials. I've seen carbon fiber. I've seen G10. I don't know if he's done stuff with C-Tech or Kieranite at all, but I'm sure he could. And he really has just been doing an outstanding job. He did his first run of mid-techs called the Pretiums as like a way for people to get more of his knives in hand. But definitely check him out. Awesome guy. He gave me about, I want to say 5 hours of his time. I mean, first off, I don't have a lot of knife guys to talk to in this area. That's why I do these videos. And so when I actually got a chance to talk to this guy, let me shine this up a little bit, and just ask all the questions I had about knives, like, oh, what do you think about lockback systems? What do you think about frame locks versus liner locks? What do you think about this steel? What's its properties? What's your favorite steel to work with? Flipping ability, using things like the Hoback rolling detent, using the Hinderer lock bar, stainless steel inserts on the frame locks, what do you look for in a flipper? Just all kinds of questions I had, and picking his brain on everything, discussing steels from other countries, ZDP 189, what that matches to here, and he was giving me information about the steel industry and all kinds of stuff. We're talking about N680 and then M360 and 3V. It was really awesome stuff, and if he watches this, so I'm sure he doesn't watch my videos, but thank you again, Elliot, for that time. I have a custom knife on order with him before he closed his books. His books currently are closed right now, but they should be open soon once he finishes up these Pretium runs of his mid-tech stuff, and once they do open up, I would highly recommend getting on them. So that was cool. That was just an update for you. And then the other update is for this channel itself. I really have been enjoying doing these overviews, as I like to call them, of knives, and more so in kind of the newer stuff. I throw this older stuff in here just because I need to give myself an excuse to make a video and to talk about knives, because I have such a limited group of people to discuss them with. But what I'm going to do is that cut test on all those production knives is my next vid, I believe, unless I get something in the next few days. And then I'm going to do a pocket clip series. I don't know if it's going to be a series, maybe one, probably 2 videos, where I'm going to do a different angle. I'm going to flip the camera around, kind of get it at my waist height, and really show how all these pocket clips of these knives work. What fits, what doesn't, what slides in nice. Do you need deep carry? Do you not need deep carry? And kind of give you a view of that, because on a lot of overviews, I want to say Blade HQ is one of the few videos that I have ever watched, one of the channels that shows the knife in pocket, and I think that makes a big deal. I mean, obviously the steel, the performance, the look is all stuff, but hey, if you're buying a knife to carry it, you really need to see, does this pocket clip work? Is there retention there? Can I slide it in my pants? Does it only work for jeans and not for, lightweight material, cotton, light shorts or slacks, or is it vice versa? It can't get over a jean thickness of the pocket to get in. It can only get into lightweight stuff. So I thought that'd be cool to do another view, another angle. So we'll get into that. And then beyond that, I should be getting some more of these custom knives that I ordered months ago in. I think some of the delays have been obviously Blade Show in June, and then the G5 gathering for the USN, which should be the end of August. So I think once August event is done, I should be getting at least 2 customs in, and then hopefully 2 more towards the end of the fall. And then next year I think I have 1 or 2 that it should be coming in after that. So about 6 custom knives, I want to say, in the next 6 months. So you might see a few sparser videos from me, or you may see some videos, maybe showing knives I've already done full overviews on, but in different use or different aspects. Maybe some follow-ups, a little series about stuff I missed on those knives that I want to, get back in, and maybe some stuff on cases or how I keep them, collect them, that kind of stuff. So hope you liked the video. If you have any questions, leave them down below. If you know anything further about this series of knife or the mother of pearl stuff on it, please leave me any anecdotes. It's really been great, the comments I've gotten, very informative stuff. So appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much, and have a good afternoon, morning, night, weekend, week, depending on when you're watching this video. But thanks a lot. Bye-bye.